What's going on YouTube? I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy, man. We talk about fashion on this channel, but we mostly talk about fragrances, of course. But like I said, you can't have one without the other. There's no point, in my opinion, of going out there smelling good if you don't look good and vice versa. So if you're into fashion and fragrance, I hope you won't mind subscribing to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon as well. That way when I upload a new video, you'll get notified. All right, guys, so we are almost at the end of April. So we've been through a quarter of the year so far. So what I want to do is just I went through my collection and looked at some of the fragrances I picked up so far in 2023. Now, that doesn't mean that they were made, obviously, in 2023. Just fragrances I've added to the collection so far this year. And I wanted to give you guys what I would consider the top 10 or 10 of the best fragrances that I've added in 2023. Now, again, I'll be honest with you guys, I get so many fragrances in, sometimes I can't remember. Was this 2022 that I got this, or was it this year? Sometimes I get a little bit confused, but these 10, well actually there's 11. I know for a fact I picked up this year. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the intro, we'll get into it. So I think these are some of the best fragrances currently on the market. That means they're readily available out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys what I've gotten in my collection that I love, and maybe some things that you may want to check out for yourself. So if you want to see what I've gotten in the collection this year that I consider to be some of the best, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump right into the video, man. Not going through a whole lot of notes and stuff like that. Just want to give you guys, again, what the fragrances are, give you a little bit of background on them and why I like them so much. But this first one, man, this is a really recent acquisition, really new to the collection. And it's from the house by Killian, man. And this is Love Don't Be Shy Special Blend, and this is Rose Oud. Love Don't Be Shy Special Blend, Rose Oud. Now, every year Killian does a special blend. I think most of the time it's centered around Love Don't Be Shy. I could be wrong. I know they've done a Love Don't Be Shy Extreme as well as a few others. But anyway, this one is the 2023 special blend from by Killian, and what's in here is what's in the name, man. This is a Rose Oud and Amber fragrance. Okay, this is Rose Oud and Amber. All right, and I want to say a quick shout out, man, to Kevin Samuels, man, the Godfather, rest in peace. Now I can't believe it's almost been a year since he passed away, but I know he would love this fragrance right here because it prominently features his three favorite notes: Rose, Oud, and Amber. This is an amazing fragrance, not for everybody. You have to love Oud, you have to love Rose and Amber, obviously, but one of my favorite fragrances, one of my favorite pickups, I should say, from 2023 so far, from the house of by Killian. This is Love Don't Be Shy Special Blend. All right, guys, the next fragrance that I will put on this list is one that I've talked about several times over the last few months. It's from the house of Un Nuit Nomad, and this is Ombre Can Jar. Ombre Can Jar. Now, why I love this fragrance so much? Because a note that I love so much, becoming one of my favorites, plum. Plum and amber, man. It's kind of a slight booziness to it, but it's definitely balsamic. You get the amber and of course the plum in here. This is an amazing fragrance. And again, this is one that nobody has really talked about so far, but guys, I'm telling you, trust your boy. Look into this fragrance right here. If you love amber, I think you'll love this fragrance. Again, this one is called Ombre Can Jar. Now, guys, speaking of fragrances that I think you should add to your collection in 2023 are some of my best pickups. Don't forget, on Saturday, April 29th at 10 a.m., the fragrance that I'm doing with my guy Jose at Teaching Men in Fashion is going live. Very limited quantity, guys. That's why I'm keep telling you about it, because I don't want you to forget. Because if you go in there at 11 o'clock, the fragrance is probably going to be sold out. Just letting you guys know. So make sure you are ready on April 29th at 10 a.m. to go ahead and jump on the fragrance, because like I said, if you wait until about 11 o'clock, it may not be available. Definitely a fragrance that I think you guys are going to want to have in your collection for 2023. Trust me. The next fragrance, guys, on the list today, this one comes from the house of BDK Parfums, and this is called Tobac Rose. Tobac Rose, and this is a creamy, sweet, seductive rose fragrance. Man, this is so good. All right, it reminds me a little bit of Atomic Rose from Initio Parfums, but a little bit more creamy. This thing is just phenomenal. I've heard a lot of good people that, you know, whose noses I trust, talk very highly of this fragrance, and I will tell you, from where I stand, it is as good as advertised. So guys, if you love rose, a creamy rose fragrance, this is one you may want to get your nose on. Again, it's from the house of BDK Parfums, and this one is called Tobac Rose. All right, guys, another fragrance I picked up this year that I really enjoyed. Speaking of the aforementioned house, Initio Parfums, this one is called Paragon. This is Paragon, and this is another fragrance that prominently features the note of plum. I'm telling you guys, it's becoming one of my favorite notes. Man, plum, Hedion, white florals. You guys, if you've experienced any other fragrances from the house of Initio Parfums, you kind of get accustomed to how they do things. This has that Initio Parfums DNA to it with a dose of plum. Love this stuff. Glad to have it, finally have it in the collection. Again, it's from the house of Initio Parfums. Again, this one is called Paragon. All right, guys, this next fragrance, man, fragrance from a brand that this was my introduction to the brand. This is my first fragrance in my collection from this brand, the house of Daniel Hossier, and this is called Ombre To Back. Ombre To Back. Man, I smelled this, man. Me and my the family went into one of those fragrance discount stores. We were at like an outlet, and I smelled it, and I intended to go back and get it that day, but you know, kind of got, you know, occupied doing other things. But anyway, I knew it was one I wanted to add to the collection, so I found it online, went ahead and picked it up. This is one of those fragrances that kind of has that apple cinnamon thing. I included it on a list I did earlier this year with some of my favorite apple pie fragrances. Yep. And this is becoming one of the best in class. Think about fragrances, of course, like Wajan, Ombre Narguilé from Hermes. Kind of fits into that category, but it does something a little bit different, and I really enjoy it. So check it out, guys. Again, one of my favorite pickups this year from the house of Daniel Hossier. This is called Ombre To Back. All right, guys, another one for my amber fragrance lovers out there. This fragrance is from the house of Rania J. This is called Ombre Loop. Ombre Loop. Guys, look at the color of this juice. It tells you what's going on inside this bottle, man. A beautiful, smoky, resinous amber fragrance with some sweetness on the dry down. Listen, it opens up kind of animalic. So I know that some of you guys are going to be turned off from the opening of the fragrance. I understand that. So this is not for everybody, but it's for me. I love the smokiness here. It opens up, like I said. Think about what it smells like when it opens up. Think about walking through a forest. So you get that greenery, that kind of camphor smell to some degree. So it kind of smells like there may be a combination of like a castoreum note, because you know castoreum comes off very animalic in fragrances, almost like an animalic leather smell. So you get that in the opening, and you also get a very smoky undertone. After about 5 minutes, and honestly, this is my favorite part, it gets really yummy. All right, you get some tonka bean in here, you get some vanilla that starts to come in, you get a labdanum. Peru balsam in here is very spicy, almost comes off like a spicy cinnamon nutmeg kind of feel. Gotta get your nose on it, guys. Trust me, this stuff is phenomenal. It's from the house of Rania J, and again, this one is called Ombre Loop. All right, I've talked about this next fragrance enough, so I'm just gonna show you the bottle, but my God, yep, you guessed, another amber fragrance. This one is called Doza from the house of Narcotica. All right, another amazing amber fragrance. It's called Doza Amber Intense, and that's really what you get in this bottle, man. A beautiful boozy amber with this vanilla bean note on the dry down. Again, I've talked about it a lot, guys, but again, this is actually moving to definitely my top 15 in the collection. Don't want to go through the whole mental anguish of trying to figure out on the fly if it's top 10. Definitely top 15. I know that for a fact. I love this stuff. Check it out, guys. It's from the house of Narcotica. Again, this one is called Doza. All right, guys, another fragrance that I really enjoyed this year that I've added to the collection is from the house of Mancera, and this is Tonka Cola. Tonka Cola did a whole video on this thing as well, but it smells just like what the name says. It smells like Tonka bean and Coca-Cola. You know, sorry I can't be more creative than that, but honestly, for the sake of this video, that will suffice because that's what this smells like. All right, amazing creation. Again, I give high points for creativity now. This is super creative. There's nothing else on the market that smells like this. Mancera, bravo. Check it out, guys, if you can. Again, it's from the house of Mancera, and this is called Tonka Cola. All right, guys, now the next fragrance comes from the house of Electimus, and this is called Oster. This is called Oster. Now, I told you guys this is a rose fragrance. It kind of reminds me of Blue Sapphire from Boadicea Victoria. So I've kind of been over this time and time again, so I won't go into much detail about it. But again, that's kind of sort of what this reminds me of. The great thing about this one compared to that fragrance, which goes for almost $1,000, you can get this one for around $250. So trust me, it's really close. I highly recommend you guys get your nose on it. This is one you gotta trust me on, guys. It's from the house of Electimus, and again, this is called Oster. And last but not least, very expensive fragrance, but one I've wanted to add to the collection for quite some time now. This is from the house of Roger Parfums, and this is Parfums de la Nuit, number 2. This fragrance was nicknamed the Seducer by Roger Parfums himself, and Mr. Roger Dove, mission accomplished. It's a sexy fragrance. That's all I have to say about it, guys. It's expensive, but if you like, you know, Roger style fragrances, this is one of the sexiest fragrances, in my opinion, that he has ever produced. And that's really saying something. So make sure you guys maybe try it, get a sample of it. I know it's expensive, so, you know, if you try it and like it, maybe you can kind of, you know, put your money aside and save up for it. Or if you got it like that, go ahead and do it. But sample it first. It's one that I love. From the house of Roger Parfums. Again, this is called Parfums de la Nuit, number 2. But that is it, guys. That is my time, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What are some fragrances you added to your collection this year that, you know, top notch in your mind? Top fragrances you've added this year. I would love to hear from you down in the comment section. And as always, I sincerely appreciate your time and your attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Then don't forget to make sure you take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks out there that you think could use this information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.